we had one house that we sold for a bank, and this is more than a decade ago. This is like 2012, 2011 probably, in South Tampa. Old 1920s bungalow. House was super creepy, right? So we go and we market the house, and every time you'd go in the house, it would sound like people are upstairs. Doors would shut, weird noises. It was super creepy, right? And so my photographer, my agents, everybody that went to this house was like, there's something freaky weird going on with this house. Well, fast forward, so we sell it to an investor that was, I think he was going to fix it. I don't really know what he was going to do with it, but fast forward to probably a couple of years down the line, I have the police show up at my house. This is before I lived in South Tampa. I was living out in Bayport, off at Hillsborough and Longboat. And really early in the morning, I mean, they're knocking on the door, and I look out the window. I'm like, who's knocking on my door at 3 a.m? And my dogs are going crazy. I look outside, and there's like 3 cop cars with lights on. I'm like, what is going on here? So I go to the door, and apparently, quickly, they thought that I was the owner. The people that bought the property were an LLC, and I signed at closing as a witness, but I wasn't. And I think the police officer just made a mistake and looked at my name and looked me up and thought I was the owner. So he comes out and he's like, "Hey, do you own the property at this address?" And I'm like, I look over to my ex. I'm like, we don't own that property. Like, it sounds familiar. I don't own that property. I own a lot of property, but I don't own that one. And then I realized, I was like, no, we actually sold that property for someone. And these call them back and forth, and they figure out they made a mistake, that I was just a witness. The house burned down.
Wow.
Yeah, super freaky. So they were coming to tell me that the house that I owned was on fire. That's what they thought. Well, come to find out, it was an LLC that owned it, and they had to look up they ended up finding out the actual end owner, but we didn't represent the buyer, so I didn't have any of the buyer's contact information. We represented the bank that sold it. So they had to do some research and figure it out. They were super apologetic. But
was somebody living in it when that happened, or they found out the cause?
No, and it ended up turning into now it's a parking lot right next to a law firm. But yeah, it never got rebuilt, but it literally burned down. And I mean, who knows who, what, when, where, but the fact that house was super creepy and then it burned down, it was like, for me, that was like, okay, my gut instinct about how creepy that house was completely accurate.
Yeah.
So,
do you have to disclose if a house is haunted, or
nope,
is there something?
Yeah, people ask that all the time because you can't factually prove, because there's debate about whether or not that actually exists or not.
Right.
And so no, you don't have to disclose it because it's not considered a material defect, and you can't factually prove whether it is or isn't. Now, so yeah, I mean, we marketed that property, and again, it was a bank-owned foreclosure. It was sold as is. The buyer had to do their due diligence, and the same buyer owned it for several years after that. And I ended up looking it up, and it transferred. And I think what ended up happening is, when it burned down, there was probably an insurance thing. And then that buyer, instead of building something on it, just sold the land to the law firm next door, which is what happened. So
I wonder if the land is haunted now.
Yeah, I know,
those
right?
Lawyers,
it's like
if their cars are getting some bugs in them or something.
That actually may help me sleep a little more peacefully at night, to maybe haunt a few attorneys.
Yeah.
They get a bad rap, but when you need a good one, you need one. But yeah, sometimes it can overcomplicate things. So yeah, I don't lose a lot of sleep, but over that, but nonetheless, maybe it is. But yeah, we've experienced that. We've had older homes that had weird things going on, and we've had doors shut, and agents tell us there's something weird going on in the house. And so yeah, we've definitely experienced that. And obviously, it's that time of the year. We're now past the summer, in the fall, and in fact, my admin decorated our office for Halloween already. She loves decorating for the holidays. So I've got little ghosts and different things in the office.